Take that dress off right now. We do not allow satanic clothing in this town. Her voice cut through the community hall like a whip, halting every parent and child in their tracks. She jabbed a finger at the young girl as if accusing a thief, not a kid showing off her school art project. The room froze, watching humiliation wash over the child's face like a cold wave. Whispers erupted, phones lifted, judgments flying faster than facts. She kept at it, branding the dress immoral, the father reckless, the family a danger to the neighborhood. Everyone braced for a fight or a breakdown, but the man just stepped forward, steady as a rock. What nobody knew was that his quiet wasn't defeat. It was the first fracture in her iron grip. Because soon, in that very building, something would shatter everything she'd built on deceit and intimidation. Before we hit the point where the mayor banished her from Willow Creek for good, let's see how she overstepped. They figured it was just a dress issue. They had no clue it was the spark of a downfall. He moved into the fray deliberately, not with fury, but a composure that seemed almost wrong for the moment. The girl pressed against him, shaking, and he placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding them both. He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He just eyed the woman who'd shamed his daughter and nodded, like he'd already mapped out a path she couldn't foresee. That silence wasn't giving in. It was the restraint of a man who'd learned to read people, spot trends, bide his time until truth hit hard. It was the discipline honed from years observing breakdowns in far-off places. It was the poise of someone who'd safeguarded fragile groups before. Though the hall was clueless about his past, they sensed the change when he turned away, wrapping his daughter in his coat. Emily clung to him the instant they stepped outside. She always acted tough, pretending she didn't ache for her mom, but this raw meanness, being singled out in front of everyone, struck deeper than she'd admit. He didn't hurry her. He let her catch her breath, lean on him, tremble until she steadied, knowing sorrow shapes itself however it must. He guided her to the truck gently, even as anger throbbed in his chest. Not the blinding kind, the sharpening kind. He'd witnessed enough power abuses in his old life to spot how they fester unchecked, and he already saw the blueprint in her actions. It was that same smug certainty he'd warned troops about, the self-righteousness that bends rules for everyone else. But right now, Emily came first. He helped her into the truck, passed her a spare sweater from under the seat. He waited until she lifted her chin without quivering. In the cab, Emily whispered she regretted making the dress. He told her straight. The dress was stunning, its meaning powerful, and none of this was on her. She nodded, but he knew she was practicing defenses for the next bully. 13 years old, and already learning to dim herself to dodge trouble. He wouldn't stand for that. Not in this town. Not under this woman's thumb. Not when her dignity was the one thing left unscathed. As he drove home, the hall shrank in the rear view. But the memory stayed vivid. The stairs, her smirk at Emily's tears, how she twisted rules she swore to uphold. He didn't know the end game yet, only that Emily wouldn't bear this solo. He'd taught soldiers that tiny wrongs often uncover massive lies. Today, a dress had exposed rot in the town's core. He parked outside their modest home. The porch light flickered as always, and Emily slipped to her room. He paused on the steps, replaying details. Not to brood on the shame, to collect it, file it, store it. For the first time since settling here, trouble had knocked. But trouble misjudges a steady man. This was just the start. And the woman who'd forced a kid to strip a dress publicly had no inkling how deep this would go once he tugged at her power's threads. He lingered on the porch, cold seeping into his hands before heading in. The house was dim save for the warm lamp Emily kept on in the living room. She'd vanished to her room wordlessly, and he gave her space. Grief and embarrassment were kin. They struck quick and lingered. He slipped off his jacket, hung it by the door, and tuned into the house's quiet. Quiet revealed more than clamor. He checked on Emily, not by knocking, but listening for her breath, slow, ragged, holding steady. She'd be fine, if he played this right. She'd lost too much last year. He wasn't piling public fights on her. He moved to the kitchen, opened the drawer with everyday tools, flashlights, screws, tape. But tucked neatly beside them, out of place in a mechanic's home, was an old notebook from his military days. One he'd vowed never to touch again. Tonight, he did, not for vengeance, that wasn't him, but to record, compile, trace. Power abuse screamed in public, but left subtle marks behind. And he'd been drilled to spot those marks before most folks sensed trouble. He noted the time they entered the arts fair, the instant she accosted Emily. Her exact words. He recalled them sharply, as men like him always did attacks on kids. He listed the crowd, officials there, the absent signatures on the event checklist. He didn't know the path yet, but patterns emerged only when pieces aligned. As he wrote, his phone buzzed, doorbell cam. He tapped it. There she was, same rigid stride. Barbara Klein, HOA vice president, striding to his porch like she owned the block and the breeze. This time with a clipboard like a trophy. He stepped out before she knocked. She blinked, caught off guard he'd met her midway. That violation isn't optional, she barked, waving the board like gospel. Your daughter's outfit broke the decency code, and your porch setup invites trouble. We can't tolerate that. He didn't budge. The code you cited was scrapped 4 years back. Her lips thinned. Those were updated with new standards. I enforce them. You enforce fear, he said evenly. Not rules. For a beat, she faltered. She hadn't expected resistance, especially from him. A quiet mechanic, widowed dad, someone she'd pegged as beneath her. But her hesitation hardened. You're skating thin ice, she hissed. Push back, and the board escalates. He stayed cool. Didn't raise his voice. Just stepped aside. Leave the notice on the rail. I'll check it. Her chin rose triumphantly, thinking he'd caved. She slapped it down and marched off. He watched her go, memorizing the form's quirks. Outdated header, mismatched violation number, sloppy format. Amateur errors from someone too cocky to be questioned. He grabbed the notice, studied it under the porch light. Rushed, careless, a tool for dominance over accuracy. He scanned the barcode. Dead, no link to any real system. She wasn't just twisting power, she was forging it. He tucked the notice into his notebook and went inside. In the kitchen, he spread HOA newsletters he'd saved for Emily's updates. He matched old codes to new, dates and signatures. The patterns surfaced fast. All her threats used outdated, tweaked, or invented rules. There it was, her flaw, assuming no one would verify. He leaned back, pieces clicking. This wasn't about a dress. Not even Emily. It was a regime of bullying. One that could topple with the right nudge. His phone buzzed, a coworker from the shop. Heard what went down. Sorry, bud, but she's been pulling this for years. Years. Not weeks. Years. So not just him. Another text from a neighbor. She's ramping up. Watch out. He nodded to himself. That dread folks carried, of fines, shaming, was her fuel. But fear thrived only in silence. He flipped to a fresh page. Document everything. This wasn't rage-fueled. It was groundwork. He wouldn't lash out. Wouldn't humiliate her. But he wouldn't let her erode Emily's spirit. Not here. Not now. He checked Emily's door before returning to the porch with the notebook. The air chilled, but clarity sharpened and cold. He scanned the street. Car patterns, lights on, Barbara's retreat direction. Then he locked up, shelved the notebook high, and muttered his old mantra. Patterns expose people. He knew hers. Now he'd wait for her to slip one more time. That's when her unraveling would start. He lingered by the window after the street hushed, eyeing where she'd vanished. He didn't expect her back tonight. Types like Barbara hit quick, then hid behind rank. But tonight handed him more than payback. Insight. And insight kicked off every collapse he'd seen in his prior life. He drew the curtains and padded through the house silently. Locks checked, not from paranoia, but routine for control. He paused at Emily's room. Her lamp glowed under the door. She was up. He felt her thoughts pressing. But he didn't intrude. Grief taught silence men's better sometimes. Still, before his room, he whispered through the door. Sleep well. We're good. A faint night, Dad came back. It sufficed. In bed, he stared at the ceiling, replaying the day. Her barbs at Emily, whispers, violations, her porch march. He filed it like overseas village logs, where grasping one dynamic averted clashes. He hadn't wanted that life trailing here. But trouble picks no venue. It shows where power rots. By morning, toasts into the house. Emily was dressed, pale but resolute. She skipped the dress talk, just asked for a school ride over the bus. He agreed instantly. En route, she gazed at streets once safe. Do you think they all hate me? She murmured. He kept steady. No, some stayed quiet from fear of her. That's not hate. But they believed her, she said. They stared like I was wrong. People skip questions when loud voices dictate. She eyed him then, spark flickering, the one he'd feared doused. You didn't skip. He shook his head. Never will. Not for you. At school, she paused before exiting. He squeezed her hand. She breathed deep, nodded, stepped out. She was tough, even unaware. He watched her enter, then headed to the shop. Work focused him, sharpened thoughts. Engines waited, some gutted, others for tweaks. Nothing fancy, but reliable unlike people. Inside, Tom looked up. Rough night. He nodded. Kinda. She's at it again, eh? Seems so. Tom wiped hands on a rag. Your kid all right? She will be. Tom added casually. Figures she'd target the old ethics pro. He paused. What did you call me? Tom blinked. Oh, didn't know it was secret. Yvette mentioned you briefed officers on culture stuff. Tense villages. He didn't reply quick. The leak was accidental but fit. Word had spread, not full story, but enough to remind his past didn't bury deep. He popped the hood, memory settling. Overseas taught communities crumble not from disorder, but misused authority. Small acts snowball. And last night's notice wasn't lone. He stepped from the car, phoned neighbors, not to blame, but query. Recent violations? Numbers old or new? Board signatures? Hand-delivered or mailed? Piece by piece, the scheme showed. Her personal notices lacked real sequences. Fines on repealed codes. Targets, family she disliked. A woman with unchecked sway, convinced she was bulletproof. He noted names, dates, without pulling folks in unwillingly. Fear of backlash, he got it. Fear-propped abusers. But his notebook thickened. At noon, he breathed in the alley. Sharp air cleared his head. Town from here. Neat homes, mowed yards, kids on lunch break. Surface peace. But peace on silence meant zilch. He tucked the notebook, returned inside, next steps outlining. No confrontation yet. That bolstered her. She'd twist narratives, paint him aggressor. He needed accuracy. Timing. Her slip. And she'd slip, types like her always did. What she missed, he'd started eroding her base quietly. He didn't need noise to fell her. Just truth. And truth strengthened hourly. Back in the shop, notebook in locker, not from fear, but to clarify patterns unseen. Next wasn't paper, observation. Post-shift, he drove to the center, not for clash, but to watch her comfy. Her weekly values meeting was tonight. Less values, more fear as order. He'd skipped since arriving, but tonight, see her in element, amid trusters. He parked edge lot, watched families enter. Moms with boards, stiff-jacketed elders, dragged teens. Community responsibility varied by speaker. Hers meant obedience. His meant warning. He waited, then went in. Room theater style, chairs to podium with HOA seal. She stood like judge, tapping papers dramatically. Spotting him, her brow twitched, crack and polish. She recovered, spoke on as if irrelevant. He sat back, visible but low-key. No notebook, tonight, observe. She started light, garden gripes, noise, parking. Irrelevant. Key. Tone shift on recent inappropriate displays. Heads turned, hunting target. He stayed still. She waved paper theatrically. Last week, a student showed attire tied to dark themes. Voice dropped like plague talk. Board acted fast to shield kids. Murmurs agreed, from not wanting dissent. Herd mentality, he noted. One voice shapes unsure crowds. She piled exaggerations, framing Emily's dress as threat, corruption, omen. Each word oozed staged revulsion from the fair. He watched the room more than her. Quick nods, confused but silent faces, uneasy shifts. Those he noted, doubt cracked power first. An older lady raised hand shyly. Was the dress really bad? Seemed art to me. Barbara stiffened, smiled venomously. Art harms, if irresponsible. The lady shrank, clutching purse. Fear triumphed. He let it play, gathering mental proof. Influence via manipulation, leaving traces. Meeting ended, folks filed out, some avoiding him, some sympathetic. He waited till she was alone at podium, shuffling. She looked up. Your presence unsettles people. He approached slow, hands pocketed. Came to hear. Meetings for that, right? You don't fit, she snapped, dropping facade. Board for committed, not agitators. Parents who disagree? He asked. Her jaw clenched. I label as earned. And you've earned what? Tone even, but it landed. She neared, voice low. Think old newsletters make you smart? Think folks side with you over me. I've run this place years. That's the issue, he said softly. She flinched subtly, he caught it. First pressure sign, breathing slips. Before reply, he walked out. Leaving unfinished gave leverage. Control freaks hate loose threads. Outside, cool night, he scanned building. Parents chatted by cars, some glancing unsure, one dad nodding back gratefully. Shift, tiny but true. In truck, he exhaled. Had what needed, proof of sway, manipulation, community as her stage. Patterns found. Phone buzzed, coworker who'd leaked past. Center back exit locked tonight too. That word flipped everything. Locked exit no fluke, negligence. Negligence bred risk. Risk forged the moment. Not wanting harm, but crisis bared truth quickest. He drove home, mind keen, back straight. Didn't know when, but felt it brewing, inevitable as storm. She'd be unready. He would. Home drive with convoy grip, calm hands, sharp mind. Locked looped. Predictable meant downfall start. Parked, porch light flickering, stability versus her chaos. Inside, still, Emily's backpack by couch, her asleep under blanket. He didn't wake her. Kitchen, notebook down from shelf to table. Tonight structure, not emotion. Flipped to document everything. Added. Emergency exit locked again. Pattern. Safety hazard. Didn't need more yet. Patterns built slow. What counted? Threads she exposed unaware. He sat, hearing fridge hum, clock tick, Emily's breath, grounds for why. So she grew fearless of power abusers. Next morning, dropped Emily at school. Steadier, quiet but unshrinking. Soft bye dad before out. Watched her shoulders higher, bolstered resolve. Drove to center, not clash, for info. Empty save janitor's sweeping front. Spoken before, quiet guy, old limp. Morning, he greeted. Morning. Mind back hall check. Janitor shrugged. Open always. Except not, at her events. Through hall, chairs scattered. Normal surface. Truth in details. Rear corridor, overhead lights, peeled paint, outdated fire poster. Tested exit. Open easy now. But fresh lock scratches. Shallow, from repeated manual locks. Examined. Recent, consistent with weeks of overriding auto. Noted in phone. Tampering confirmed. Tool pattern misuse. Noticed crooked wall panel. Maintenance usually precise, corner cutters not. Pressed, it swung, showing key switch wired to exit. Manual bypass, non-standard. Deliberate control. And she had the key. Exhaled. Bigger than shaming, pettiness. Dangerous. Fire or smoke, trapped folks. Kids. Photos. Clear, dated, contextual. Evidence whispered. Janitor peeked. Okay. Nodded. Checking. Heard about door. Locked at big meetings. Don't know why. Complained. To who? Her. Who else? Said for order. Feels wrong. Reputation leak. Subtle, bridging suspicion to known but unchallenged. Thanks. Helped big. Left with direction. Strategy, timing. Needed moment her negligence stood with evidence, unignorable. Work drive, sun-sharpening thoughts. Shop busy, lined cars, waiting customers. Tom wave, good? Look intense. Thinking. About her, huh? Paused mid-motion. Power trip felt weightier. If she locked exits, what else? Manipulated under order guys? Toolbox grabbed, but mind mapped. Her neighborhood moves, flinches at name, clipboard as weapon. Enough to see, downfall from exposure. Calm, undeniable. Had peace to light it all. Locked exit no error, beginning. Midday, shop noise background. Worked engine, mind on scratches, panel, janitor nod. Pointed to truth. She didn't bend rules, rewrote for control. Control sans accountability led dangerous. Tightened bolt, wiped hands, stepped out. Crisp air, pine scent from woods edging Willow Creek. Quiet settled clarity. Stepped from noise for insight. Back in, knew next, clocked out early. Tom's puzzled shrug, drove home. Emily hours away. Time uninterrupted to dig. Notebook on table, gathered HOA newsletters, updates, notices since move. Chronological line, scanned inconsistencies. Newsletters harmless to most. To him, authority patterns. Written ones easiest exposed. Fingers traced headers, revised guidelines 2018. Safety 2019. Moral clause 2020. Paused, moral standards not HOA norm. Ideology is policy. Opened, scanned vague, subjective language, for broad use. Hers alone signed. No meeting, approval. Noted, moral clause illegitimate. Fabricated. Cross-checked violations, none matched official sequences. Inflated, changed, fake. Shadow system she ruled. Pen flew, dots connecting. Systemic, not bullying. Rogue using order facade to hit dislikes. Knew her type. Rules serve them, punish threats, hide in policy. Needed control so bad, forgot responsibility. Sorted till door opened soft. Emily in, backpack dumped, frowned at papers. Homework. He smiled sort of. She neared, seeing notices, codes. About yesterday? About all, gently. You did nothing wrong. Ensuring you feel safe. Shoulders eased, breath held since fair released. Nodded, to room, left him more resolved. Afternoon faded, next step. HOA site. Basic, outdated, likely her touch. Compared posted to physical. Discrepancies, missing pages, altered, no signs. Photos each, labeled date/source. Pieces mattered. Evidence from accumulation. Evening, full list, fake codes, revisions, unverifiable violations, exit tampering, locked events, targeting pattern. Exhaled. No hunch, framework. Justice moved via structure. Knock sharp, broke focus. Tucked papers, open to neighbor Mr. Jenkins, shifting nervous, folded paper gripped. Sorry bothering, older man said. Think she's after me next. Took paper, violation, hand delivered. Fake number, header, no signs. Said my gnome spiritually wrong. Muttered. Silly, but threatened fine. Not silly. Pattern. Jenkins looked up, done before. No she has. Gathering proof. Swallowed. Need help? Or speakers, more than you think. Nodded. Shift needed. Fear silenced. Cracked when one stood. Community psych. One speaks, others follow. Jenkins left, door closed, stood still. Evidence stacking self. Neighbors, patterns, docs, all to confrontation. But precise, public, timed when her power crumbled under weight. Notebook flipped new page, full file prep for exposure. Hovered, added. Need crisis for weakness reveal. Didn't wish crisis, but safety tamperers created own. Closed gently. Ready, though she clueless how near her fall. Stood quiet kitchen after final line. House pulse like foretelling next. Didn't want crisis, no sane person did. But tamperers brewed disasters. Closed notebook, shelved, night settled with cold certainty. Moment coming. Unknown when. Next morning deceptive normal. Sun through curtains. Emily breakfast quiet, school drop same. Lighter, small smile stepping out. Nodded back, resilience anchor before work. Midday, Willow Creek hummed on charity bake sale. Annual event, same building she locked exits. Parents volunteered, kids cookies, seniors pies competing. Harmless surface. Under, wrongness brewed. Arrived early drop donations. Lot half full. Carried box in, scanned hall auto, doors, exits, vents, flow. Old habit, life-saving. Inside, laughter, chatter. Tables baked goods, crafts, raffles. Kids darted. Far end, she stood clipboard, smiling like benevolent ruler. Saw him, smile tightened. Ignored, to back hallway. Exit locked again. Handle didn't budge. Fresh scratches sharper. Locked morning. Exhaled. Confirmation. Quiet photo, back to hall. Noise swelled, families in. Room warmed, crowded not dangerous. Positioned edge, eyes on crowd, corridor. Then, sharp crack backstage. Overloaded outlet pop. Instincts fired. Smoke seeped under door, thin and thick. Shout. Lights flickered. Parent screamed for child. Panic sound rippled. Adults surged front doors, yanking kids. But group kids played back corridor, smoke filling fast. Her locked exit sealed. Moved before thought complete. Rushed hallway, shoving crowd. Emily absent, but kids were kids. Smoke thickened, ceiling heat, visibility dropping. Half dozen kids huddled exit, coughing, crying, clawing handle. Can out, boy sobbed. Okay, steady voice. Follow. Herded from smoke pocket to maintenance corridor scouted days back. Behind, hall chaos. Shouts, alarms, useless commands. Tuned out. Clarity honed. Reached hatch, pried with shelf tool. Groaned, gave. Cool air mixed smoke, narrow path. Through here low. Kids crawled, emerging outside. Janitor opened service door. Relief as air hit. Last kid safe, he out, coughing but steady. Parents rushed, crying, shaking hands grabbing kids. Crowd around him. Thanks, touches, disbelief. Then she appeared. Face pale seeing kids from maintenance not back door. Scanned wall, his soot sleeve, clinging kids. What happened? Demanded. Met gaze calm. Your locked exit trapped kids in smoke. Impossible, snapped. Secured for safety. You tampered, simply. People heard. Parents turned. Janitor forward. Shift there. Silent, small, potent. Realization ripple. First time, she looked scared. Not of him. Of truth. Uncontrollable moment. Didn't need more accusation. Corridor did. Crisis revealed what waited. Crowd tide shifted, slow then sudden. Parents closer, kids tear-streaked. Some grateful stares at him. Others dawning at her. Smoke lingered, burnt wire scent. Stood calm midst, not triumphant, steady, trained. She backed half-step, twisting clipboard. Calm down. Insisted, voice raised reclaiming slip. Exaggerated. Kids panicked. Mother world, shaking. My son couldn't breathe. Banging locked door. Wasn't locked, was, interrupted level. Tested pre-event. Scratches fresh. Murmurs. Exchanges. Janitor. Told her unsafe weeks ago. Face twisted, lying. Met glare unflinching. Override tampered. Key switched to mechanism. One person keys it. Looked like wished ground swallowed him. Accusing endangered kids? Outsider. Odd behavior. Notes. Father echoed, collecting on him. Panic flickered. Overstepped. Crowd sensed. Siren wailed. Fire truck rolled, lights. Marshal out, taking smoke, crowd, escape. Quick questions, smoke start, kids rescue, alarm trigger. Parents pointed him. Marshal neared. You got kids out? Yes. Fast for middle. Habit. Nodded, to corridor. She scrambled. Don't understand. Exit problems events. Teens sneak. Marshal cut sharp. Never lock emergency exit. Voice carried. Head snapped. Parents stiffened. No longer dispute. Safety, kids, law. Marshal back. Tampered. Unauthorized override. Smoke worse, bodies out. Silence heavy. She cracked. He set up. After dress. Manipulating. Slow breath. You locked. I opened another. Wording hit. Truth. No barb. Weight settled like verdict. Reporter arrived post-alarms, filming, recording. Name. Shook head. Not story. Saved kids. Parent shouted. Any decent would. Trained. Marshal firm. Drew eyes. Curious. Instinct withdraw. Past walled since move. Said no more. Not his moment. Hers. Marshal to reporter. Statement. Town dodge tragedy. Authority nearly caused. She froze. Clipboard trembled. You'll answer. Investigation. Mayor call. Mayor. Knees buckled. Watched with calm from first shame. Not pride, clarity. Not end, tipping. Crowd dispersed. Kids bundled. Parents whispering fierce. Reporter stayed. Marshal truck. Janitor thanks. Shuffled. To truck when she called shrill. Think hero? Turned town against. Paused. Faced. Didn't. You did. In truck. Engine on. Drove. Leaving her alone in cold lot. Smoke drifting like her control's remnants. Crisis cracked armor. Truth would finish. Home drive no radio. Road rhythm steadying. Crisis opened what new. Town saw. Not gossip. Complaint. Danger witnessed. Parents remembering kids fear forever. Exposure spread. Pulled driveway. Dusk over Willow Creek. Porch flickered. Emily opened door pre-reach. Didn't rush. Just searched face. Knelt. Okay. Whispered. Nodded. Kids too. Relief softened. Leaned in. Held long. World sensible despite twists. Dinner quiet. Emily schoolard. He listened. Voice washing smoke residue. Bed. Kitchen table. Notebook open deliberate. Crisis passed. Assemble truth unignorable. Wrote. Smoke confirmed. Kids trapped locked exit. Witnesses. Marshal. Investigation. Added strategic. Community shift. Fear to anger to clarity. Folks afraid yesterday question today. Needed accountability, not revenge. Morning. Willow Creek buzzed awake. Parents posted online angry details. Neighbors driveway whispers. Reporter videos circulated. Smoke. Kids coughing. Him guiding. Her defensive to Marshal. Phone vibrated. Mayor's office. Answered calm. Michael. Mr. Hayes. Need you afternoon. Questions. Available. Unsurprised. Call for locked exit near tragedy. Accountability when stakes life death. Work. Tom at entrance. Saw video. Walked smoke like nothing. Shrugged. Had to. Not normal. Training. No response needed. Morning. Shop visitors. Parents thanks. Neighbors grievances. Some confessing years wanted speak. Listen neutral. Adding to mental map. Fear unraveled. Replaced speak willing. Powerful. Early afternoon. Mayor's office. Secretary ushered quick. Mayor behind desk. Sleepless. Thanks coming. Worse than realized. Silent. Let's speak. Revealed faster. Side. Marshal report. Locked. Tampered. You out kids. Parents demand answers. Barbara claims locked safety. Eyebrow. From what? Wouldn't say. Forehead rub. Facts. No politics. Info. Gesture chair. Notebook on desk. Pages slid. Chronological. Clean. Spoke as old briefings. Facts. No pauses. Showed fake codes. Altered clause. Witnesses. Janitor. Scratch photos. Override. Harassment timeline. Selective. No embellish. Truth raw. Mayor shifted concern to shock to anger. Last evidence. Eyes closed. Not negligence. Abuse. Endangerment. Removal grounds. Nodded. Why documented? Exhaled clenched. Emergency hearing tomorrow. Marshal attend. You present. Town needs hear from unafraid. Shook head. Not about me. Your daughter. Every family punished. Needs steady. Truth sans war. Hesitated. Nodded. I'll come. Town different leaving, open windows, open talk. Eyes met with understanding. Tide turned. Crisis revealed. Truth dismantled rest. Walk to truck lighter, steps steady. Town no maze, waking. Doors open, talk free, no pretend. Truth streets, porches. Fear no stick. Climb truck, set engine off. No pride, preparation. Alignment before public. Hearing exposed quiet, clean, no theatrics. Justice way. Key turned home. Emily porch steps sketchbook, legs folded. Spotted, brightened. Back early. Sat beside, meeting short. Closed book, studied, big happen. Few things. Truth out. Bake sale kids, her long doings. People saw. Expression shifted, jaw tight. Good. Scared everyone, adults too. Looked careful, feel. Paused. Maybe not fault. Shoulder squeeze, never was. Lean brief, pulled with breath. Art room tomorrow? Finished dress project. Don't want ruined. Soft smile, yeah. Request meant more than thanks. Reclaiming shaken not broken. Evening quiet. Cooked while she painted. House warmer, tension loosened. Dinner, bed early, week wait. Table, notebook, not document, closed chapter. Final line. Exposure complete. Justice started. Hand rested cover. Thought old life. Desert briefings. Tense negotiations. Guiding wrong move cost. Hadn't wanted here. Came for Emily's softer world. But softness allowed harm no. Not pulled. Open to neighbors. Mr. Jenkins, street woman spoken once. Sorry unannounced. Thank you. Woman nodded. Saw what did quietly. Need anything, street here. Nodded, appreciate. Jenkins, scared years. Was too. Didn't let decide next. Look exchanged, left. Realized, fear uprooted. Bullies powerless. Stepped out later, cool air breath. Porch flickered comfort not reminder. Street quiet, peaceful, honest. Leaned rail, community center roof distant. Wondered her now. Packing clipboard, blaming all but self. Grasping how authority slipped day. No pity, closure. Justice not always punish. Truth daylight. World balanced first since fair. Tomorrow settle. Tonight town breathed. Night air clean. Town exhaled long hold. Stayed porch, hands rail, watching empty street fear once bold. Now quiet, honest, settled. Didn't know peace forever, but tonight believable. Inside, checked Emily. Slept curled, sketchbook open pillow. Half done black dress drawing, delicate, no shame. Hand through hair gentle, lamp off, door eased. Why fought careful, precise, noiseless, so sleep fearless, grow believing dignity untakeable by loud. Next morning soft slow. Bird's porch, sun floor. Emily kitchen barefoot, rubbing eyes. Community center after school? Finished dress display. Smile, yeah. Nodded, confidence back. Chipped by humiliation, not destroyed. Resilience rooted small, world less cruel let stand. School drop, past town hall. Crowd around notice, official, stamped. Mayor's signature bottom. Didn't need read. Word spread porches mixed shock relief. Effective immediately, Barbara Klein prohibited participating, overseeing, attending community leadership governance Willow Creek. Legal review pending. Done. Past hall, announcement scene. She's furious, Tom said, packed HOA office pre-sunrise. Someone said crying. Paused. Consequences unpleasant. Earned them. Tom, people smiling. New. Work, tools rhythm grounding. Patterns, movement, focus. Satisfaction, community safer. Mid-afternoon, reporter shop. Notebook chest, follow-up. Parents call hero. Not. Maybe not you. Reason kids out. Nodded once, back engine. Hint taken, left quiet. Evening, school, walked center. Hall quiet, smoke gone, fresh paint. Crew repaired, removed override, fixed wiring. Emily's sketchbook underarm. Reached display, paused. Hands slight tremble, significance. Watched open, remove finished dress drawing, pinned beside blank from incident. Voice waver no break. Want seen, not her, supposed here. Hand shoulder, belongs. Stepped back, looked. Proud again, shoulders up, chin high, eyes clear. Neighbors entered, stopped at drawing. One smiled warm, beautiful, proud. Emily nodded, cheeks pink shy confidence. Thanks. Walked home slow, quiet settle. Porch, Emily inside. He stayed, watching neighborhood fought. Not force, aggression, truth. Thought notebook shelved, closed. Locked exit, smoke, panic, precision follow. Emily shrink fair, steady today. Real victory more than ruling. Justice not roar. Whispered. Rebuilt. Looked like child pinning art where belonged. Stepped in, door close. Night gentle around home. What do you think about the themes of abuse of power and injustice in this story? Share your opinions in the comments below, especially your stance on how such situations should be handled in real life. Express your views, we'd love to hear them.